Hello everyone, welcome to the video. Today I'm going to be talking about the differences and doing a comparison of the FC13, the old FC13. This is the one with the SFN43 emitter, and the new one that I also just got, which has an SFT40 emitter. So let's go ahead and get started. This is probably a video that quite a few people have wanted to see, just looking at the differences between the old version. They had actually pulled the old version out, and this is now replaced with another one, the XHP 50.2 version. So they have like a floodier version now, along with this one here, which is just the SFT40, the one that I got. I prefer the extra throw in it. So let's go through quickly on what's included with both. Now you pretty much get the same thing, and looking at the flashlights themselves, I really can't tell difference. They look exactly the same. There's nothing apart from the reflectors. I do find that the reflector of the old one with the SFN43 is a little bit more smoother. This one is more mottled. They're both orange peel reflectors, but yeah, that's just a slight difference. Mottled, and of course the LEDs, but the firmware, everything else, the driver, pretty much the same. The construction, having a look inside the flashlight, pretty much exactly the same. Get a USB cable, which allows you to charge the flashlight. Get a couple of spare O-rings. You get a lanyard as well, and an instruction manual. So pretty much it. Really basic, but everything that you need. Oh, and you also get the battery, the Workhorse battery that's included. I'll just show you quickly what it looks like. 4,000. Oops, this is another one I've gotten here, but the other one should have it. The Workhorse cell with the 3,000 milliamp hour rating in there. And just close that up. Apparently the Sofirn cell that I have in there is pretty much the same thing, just rewrapped. So really, in terms of the design and the build quality, I can't say that there is any difference at all. I mean, just looking at them, pretty much identical. I mean, if I were to really be nitpicky, I could say that the diameter of the clip at the bottom is maybe a little bit smaller there than that one. But apart from that, yeah, it's pretty much the same. I think the build quality is pretty good on both of them for a flashlight of this price range. Get this nice kind of, it's not really matte black, but it's probably tending more towards matte black with a little sheen to it. And I do find it to be a little slippery for sure than some of the matte black finishes. And that's why Workhorse have added a little bit of this knurling on there to sort of help with the grip. If you want to get into the head of this flashlight, you're going to have to use some type of tool, maybe some pliers that you can put in there, maybe just put some paper or something so it doesn't scratch it up, and then you can wrench it out, just sort of unscrew it. Reminds me a little bit of some of those watch cases when you get into the back of those watch cases and undo it with that tool that looks a bit like a compass. So if you have something like that, I think that'd be useful. I don't know how tight this thing is, but again, it is possible to get in there if you want to meddle around, want to change the reflector, want to change the LED, anything like that. I think that's cool that Workhorse does make that possible, even though it is a bit more tricky on this flashlight. So batteries and charging, we talked a little bit about that before. There's onboard charging, 2.4 amps charging as well. Not only that, but both of these function as emergency power banks. So if you've got a USB-C to USB-C cable, you charge your phone, you charge whatever on the other end, which is a great little feature. I always wonder why they don't have that feature in more expensive flashlights. Yeah, pretty much the same size, no difference there. Now, the big difference really is the LED, and the initial LED, as you can see here in the previous model, 3,400 lumens, but I don't think that it was outputting anywhere near that amount, just due to the internal resistance and the cell that was provided with the light. It was also ramping down quite quickly. Here you can see SFT40, smaller die surface, produces 2,000 lumens, a lot less heat as well, and you get more of a focused beam, more throw. That's something I think, for me anyway, is important in an EDC, along with decent flood. So it is, it is practical to use around the house or just, for different purposes. Bezels and lenses, pretty much the same. But yeah, like I mentioned before, the reflector seems a little bit more mottled in the new version with the SFT40 than the old version. I kind of just want to swap them around. In fact, I kind of want to get a smooth reflector to stick in there if I can find one, just to see what it looks like. But I do find with the SFT40 and especially the SFT70, you can get a donut hole when you're using those sort of smooth reflectors. So same UI there. I'm not going to go through the UI. It's just Angular 2. So in terms of overall performance, this one's going to give you 2000 lumens. This one's going to give you 3400 lumens. But do remember those are theoretical figures, and it really depends on the type of battery you're using, the voltage of the battery. You know, I've even heard that you might have to do a tail spring bypass to make sure that you get the least internal resistance across from the battery. And also, to get that maximum output, you're really going to need a cell that has a high draw capacity. You can get external batteries from the ones included with the FC13 that will have high draw capacity and potentially give you higher output. I've also seen people do spring bypasses to also increase the output and reduce the internal resistance. I've done that to a few of my Sophone lights, and I'm probably going to do it to this one just to see what kind of gains I can get from it. It's a pretty simple procedure. And the beam profiles are quite different as well. This one here, it's really quite a floody beam. There is a hotspot, but it's pretty large. Whereas you've got this one here that has more of a concentrated hotspot and extra throw. So in terms of longevity, pretty much I wouldn't say that they differ too much, considering that they both ramp down quite quickly. So you think, talking about 2.5 hours each on turbo. And, practicality wise, I'd say both of these are pretty good. If you're looking for a flashlight that has a little bit more throw, I'd say go for this one here. Now, there is a version, like I mentioned before, that has the XHP 50.2, and I believe that one is meant to be some kind of replacement for the SFN 43, which produced too much heat. I don't think it was very efficient. Overall, if you're looking for extra throw, decreased temperature, and you still want, a decent amount of spill, I reckon go for the SFT 40 version. Okay, now there is a second version, like I mentioned before, the XHP 50.2 version, which I think is very similar to this one here with the SFN 43. Just through feedback and through different testing, Workhorse decided to can this SFN 43 model, replace it with the XHP 50.2, but they both have quite similar characteristics, more of a floody beam with a large diffused hotspot that just blends into the floods, just a larger beam profile as well. So if you're looking for something that's more used for, in immediate range, short to mid range purposes, I think, the XHP 50.2 is pretty good. Again, this one here with the SFT 40, you're also going to get decent amount of flood, as you've seen in the beam shot, but it also gives you the advantage of the extra throw. And I like that because I like to just see ahead of where I'm going, just be able to see if I'm, trekking a path or something like that, I'm able to see what's ahead and preempt. So that's my take on things. Other than that, there's not really much else to compare. I'm really struggling to think of anything else to talk about. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. There's probably something I missed out, and I will get back to you. If you found this video helpful, do me a favor and click that like button. It helps me get this video out to more people so I can just share that around. And if you want to see me make more videos more often, make sure you click that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Two different Workhorse FC13s. So over here, what I'm going to do, on the left, I'll do the SFT 40 version, and on the right, I'll do the SFN 43 version, which I think is kind of similar in terms of brightness with the XHP 50.2 version. So let's just turn them both onto high first. Okay, so that's on high, and you can see already the SFT 40 out throwing the SFN 43 on high. Let's put them both on turbo. Okay, there you go. I'm putting this one upwards a bit. SFT 40 and SFN 43. SFT 40
SFN 43. So definitely, you know, you get a lot more throw with the SFT 40, and the SFN 43 is just a wider spill, a lot more spill. The beam is softer as well, but you just can't beat that throw. Look at that. And there's also quite a decent amount of spill. As you can see, it fills up the entire frame of the camera. And the SFN 43 here, still pretty bright. Both have started to ramp down a little bit. You know, I can actually double tap the button to maybe reactivate the turbo. Oop, let me just try one more time. Double tap and double tap again. So just reactivate it for a bit. There we have it. So definitely in terms of throw, I would hand this to the FC13 SFN 43. More of a smoother, and some people would say more of a practical beam, but really the SFT 40's got just so much spill in it. I really wouldn't discount that. I'd say they're almost producing the same amount of brightness. Given how fast the original FC13 with the SFN 43 just ramps down. Also depends on the battery that you're using too. But quite impressive throw, considering that, you know, the light's been on for a little while.